When you ask most people, how do I start investing if I don't have any money? They'll tell you to use OPM, other people's money. But that's one of the worst decisions that you can make. I'll show you why and show you what you can do instead. I started investing in real estate when I was 19. And the first thing that I did was I walked into the bank and asked for a $25,000 loan because that's what all the investing books told me to do. And I was very fortunate that the bank told me no. When most people think about investing, they're thinking, I'm going to take $10,000 and I'm going to dump it into this asset. What is this asset? It could be stocks, it could be real estate, something that's going to go out and make me some money. The problem here is what happens if you don't have $10,000? Well, then you can start with $1,000. If you don't have $1,000, you can start with $100. Don't have $100, you start with $10. Don't have $10, start with $1. And this is where people say, well, Jaspreet, if I don't have a lot of money, how am I really supposed to invest my money practically? I mean, I'm not going to really get any return. And this is where then people will say, well, you can use OPM. Go borrow money from the bank. Go use margin from your stock brokerage and now use other people's money. Use somebody else's dollars to then invest. That way now you can pay them back a little bit of interest and then you get to keep all the rewards, the profits. Now this can be great when it works, but when it doesn't work, that means now not only did you lose your money that you put into your investment, but now you still owe these people back their money plus interest. And if you don't know what you're doing when you're getting started, well, chances are you're going to make some mistakes. You've probably heard me say that you're never guaranteed to make money when you invest. In fact, you will probably lose money at some point, which is why you need to always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. Investing is risky. And if you're just getting started, you don't know how investing works. And now when you go and compound that risk with somebody else's money, now you're the person that has to pay the price no matter what, because when you lose the money that you invest, well, that money is gone. But if you lose the money that somebody else gave you to invest, that money is gone and you still have to pay it back plus interest. And this puts us in a little bit of a weird situation because this video is about how to start investing with little to no money, but you need money to invest into things like this. So what do we do? Well, what you have to understand is that there are two things that you can invest. You can invest your own money or you can also invest time. And so if you don't have money to invest, you're going to have to compensate for that with your time investment because you don't need money to earn money, but you need money to grow your money. When you're investing your money here into assets like stocks and real estate and businesses, you need money to go out and buy these assets so your money can grow. It takes money to grow your money, but it doesn't take money to start generating the money. And so what I'm going to focus on today are the different ways that you can invest your time and other things that you can do that way you can start generating more money so you have some extra cash to invest into these types of assets. I'm going to go over 6 different investments you can start making today, starting with number 1, investing in your mind with learning. And the first thing that you can do is just start reading books. And you might say, well, Jaspreet, I don't have any money. How am I supposed to buy a book? Then you can go to your local library and check out a book for free. And if you say, well, Jaspreet, well, I don't really like reading books. I prefer to listen to my books, but I don't have money for Audible. Well, there's an app out there called Libby app, which syncs with the local library, which will allow you to listen to books for free. I'm not sponsored by them, it's just a resource. And this is where now you gotta start being resourceful, that way you can start learning. And if all this is still too difficult, well, then you can spend some more time on YouTube University, the educational pieces of content on YouTube. You can listen to podcasts and you can sign up for free webinars to start learning from other people on how to earn more money and how to build your wealth. Now you might be wondering, well, Jaspreet, what should I actually go out to learn? Well, let me give you 5 subjects that I would recommend you start spending more and more time learning. Number 1, money management and investing. Number 2, mindset and self-development. Number 3, how to grow in your career. Number 4, how to start and grow a business. And number 5 is negotiating how to sell. If you read 5 books in each one of these 5 categories, I guarantee over the next 12 months, you are going to be a completely different person and you're going to have completely different skill sets, which are going to allow you to earn a whole lot more money. And you're also going to know what to do with this money. That way you can grow your wealth and also build your wealth. The second investment I want you to make is in your own debt, but probably not the way you think. Let's assume that you own this home right here and you have a $500,000 mortgage on this property. You got a 30-year loan with a 7% interest rate on your mortgage. Well, that means that your monthly payment is gonna be $3,226 a month. Now, over the course of the 30 years, after paying this monthly payment, you're gonna pay right around $700 $1,000 in interest. But there's a simple trick that you can use to pay less money in interest and keep more money in your pocket. Let me show you. If you take a monthly mortgage payment, $3,226 a month, and you divide it by 2, which is $1,632. And now instead of paying monthly, you paid bi-weekly, meaning every 2 weeks. So now you pay $1,632 every 2 weeks. Instead of paying $700,000 in interest on your mortgage, you're only going to have to pay $528,000 in interest on your mortgage, which means you get to keep more than $150,000 in your pocket over the course of your mortgage. But that's not all. With this method, you're also going to be able to shave off about 6.5 years of time paying down your mortgage. You're going to be mortgage free 6.5 years faster. And the reason why is because when you make your mortgage payments every 2 weeks as opposed to every month, well, now you're paying essentially an additional month's worth of mortgage every single year, because you have 52 weeks in the year. And so now you're making an additional monthly payment, and you might not even notice it when you budget your mortgage payments every 2 weeks, because it's a small incremental increase that you're paying every single month. And if you don't really notice it, well, it will help you save a lot of money in the long run. The other way that you can invest in your debt is find a faster way to pay down your credit card debt, because we all know that credit card debt is expensive. And one way that you can do that is, if you are ready to be committed to pay down your credit card debt aggressively, you can look at transferring your credit card balance to a 0% APR credit card, because there are some credit cards out there that will give you 6 to 12 months of 0% APR period. So you can transfer your credit card balance to this now 0% APR credit card. That way you don't have to pay interest, but you can use this as a time to now aggressively attack this credit card debt and not have to accrue any interest. But this only works if you've already made that commitment that you're going to get aggressive to pay down your credit card debt, that you're going to spend less and earn more, that you're going to pay down this credit card debt. That way now you don't have to also fight the interest, as a way now for you to get out of this debt and stop making your banker richer. The third way for you to invest your money if you don't have any money is to stop paying the stupid tax. The stupid tax, if you've never heard of this concept before, is essentially, it's a way to phrase this tax that people pay when you're making, let's call them, silly decisions, to be nice. You know what I mean here. And so because you're making all these silly decisions, it ends up costing you a whole lot of money, and that's why some people like to call it a tax. What are some examples of this? Well, here are 7. Number 1 is the lottery, because you're not going to make any money from the lottery. Number 2 is on cigarettes, because it's not doing any good for you. Number 3 is alcohol, same reason. Number 4 is weed and drugs. I know a lot of people have different opinions on this, but it's not adding money into your life. Number 5 is overdraft fees. If you're spending money out of your bank account when you don't have any, the bank is going to charge you a fee, which is really just kind of crazy to think about. They're charging you a fee because you don't have any money to begin with, so don't spend money you don't have. Number 6 is gambling. Yes, this includes sports betting. Yes, this includes the fantasy betting. This is a way for you to make somebody else rich without really getting any value out of it. And number 7 are late fees in general. If you have bills, every company is going to charge you a late fee if you don't pay it on time. Check out the bills that you're getting, pay your bills on time, and you're going to avoid a lot of money in fees. Number 4 is invest your time in earning some money. If you don't have money, but you have time, there are so many ways for you to go out and sell your time in exchange for some money. There are labor jobs that you can do. You can start a painting company. You can start a physical moving company. You can start a car washing company. You can start a lawn mowing company. You can start a snow plowing company. I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Now it's all about how you can be strategic. If you're going to start a cleaning company, well, now how can you partner with the property management companies in your area? Because these property management companies are managing hundreds, if not thousands, of rental properties for the landlords. And every month there's going to be tenants that move out, and they're going to want properties to be cleaned up. And so if you can work out a deal with these property management companies, well, now you can be their go-to person to clean up the rental properties. If you can do it quickly and if you can do it at a good price, you can be their go-to person to clean up their properties. If you're going to be the person that's going to be helping people move, again, be strategic. Who are you targeting? Maybe you create a moving company tailored to college kids, because every semester or every year, college kids are going to move out and move into a new apartment, and they might need some affordable movers. Now, not every college kid needs a mover, but there are some kids that will need movers. years. And you can be that person that's talking and catering to college kids if you understand what they're looking for. See, it's all about now thinking a little bit strategically, because there's a lot of ways to make money, but the question is, how can you differentiate yourself and offer something a little bit different, or cater to a specific subset of people that way now you can really dominate and make a lot of money in this space, that way you have more money to invest in other assets. Number 5 is invest in meeting people. And I didn't really understand the value of this until I started really building my own company, because what I realized is the biggest differentiator of a successful company and a non-successful company are the people that are working inside of that company. And if you can't find good people to help you find investment opportunities, to find new wealth building opportunities, to find new income generating opportunities and actually build them, it's going to be very difficult, because you can't do everything yourself. And this is where, if you don't have a lot of money, you want to put yourself in a position where you can meet people who have money. I remember I went to Boca Raton a few years ago, and this was such an interesting experience for me, because I went there just to go think. It was a thinking trip. I know, weird concept, but I went there to just kind of spend some time thinking. It's this very expensive area in Florida. And I remember going to the gym there, and it was such an interesting experience, because I was sitting in the hot tub area, and a couple of guys were there, older guys, and one guy starts talking to the other about his real estate deal. And he was talking about how he was getting ready to sell his apartment complex for about $250 million. A very casual conversation, but it really opened my eyes to, oh wow, where you are can really change the type of conversations you're around, the type of people that you're around, and the environment that you're around. Because if the people around you are talking about $50 transactions, about buying stupid things, about blowing money on dumb things, versus other people are talking about buying and selling apartment complexes, you're going to be in a very different environment. And so now the question is, how can you put yourself in a different environment? And there's a lot of ways to do this. Again, you can start on the internet, find social communities, digital communities online. If that's not going to work, go out and find physical communities, which I do recommend. Meeting people in person is so much better than doing it remotely. And so now, how do you do that? Well, there's conferences all the time in many different sectors and many different assets that you can go out and start attending and start meeting people. And you might say, well, Jaspreet, I don't have money to buy tickets to go to a conference. Fine. Go and be a volunteer at that conference. That way you can get in for free, or at least get a super big discount. A lot of conferences will give free tickets to people who are going to go there and be volunteers, but at least now you get access into the event. You can learn from the speakers, and then you can go and network as well. This is where now it's who you're putting yourself around. That way you can meet successful people, you can meet smart people, and you can meet the people that are actually innovating and changing. Because in order for you to get out of the situation that you're in, you might need a completely different set of friends, but that's going to require you to put yourself in a different environment. And finally, number 6. This one I kind of made a bonus one, because this one is an investment in non-financial things, which can kind of indirectly translate to more financial success. And what I mean by here is investing in the non-financial part of your life. Investing in the physical part of your life, the mental part of your life, and the spiritual part of your life. And no, you don't need a lot of money to doing this. If you don't got money for a gym membership, start going on walks. Eat better foods, go out for runs, do push-ups, go to a park and do some pull-ups. There are ways that you can take care of yourself, but you got to take care of your physical health. Because if you're just spending all of your time working, which I get it, you got to do that in the early stages, but you're just putting a whole bunch of junk in your body and you're not taking care of the way that you look and feel, well, you're not going to be in great shape for that long. It's the same thing with your mental health. If you're surrounded by people that are toxic, that are not supporting you, that are not helpful for where you're trying to go, it's okay to have doubters. I mean, you can use that as fuel, but there's a difference between having people that are very toxic, that are holding you back from becoming successful. Then you got to get a change of environment, and you got to put yourself in somewhere else and start learning about how you can build a positive mindset. Again, YouTube and podcast is going to be a great resource for you. Same thing with your spiritual health. One of the things that you can do is just start journaling. Write down your thoughts. Why do you feel like you're here? What is your purpose? And you know, I'm not one of those people that say you got to find your purpose to do things, because I think that's a whole bunch of crap. Everybody's purpose changes pretty often. My purpose changed many times in the last 10 years. I'm sure yours probably will too. But you got to understand, what is your drive? Because if you go out and become very financially successful, what is the reason now to get out of bed when you have $10 million in the bank? You got to ask yourself that, because that's what you're working towards. And if you get there, you don't want to be that person that's now very miserable, because now you have all the financial success, but no reason to really be happy or fulfilled. This is where I want you to start thinking about these things and invest in your non-financial health as well, because now you can live a truly fulfilled life. And the interesting thing here is it can also help you make more money as well, because when you're physically healthy, you can also have more energy to work harder and work more efficiently and work better. Same thing with your mental health. When you're anxious and stressed, it can be hard to be productive with your work. When you're always worried about what's happening in your home and you go to work and now your whole mind is at home because you have all these stressful things happening with your wife or your husband or your kids, it's hard to let that go and just start working. But if you have a healthy mental health, well, now you can also be more focused and be more efficient and be more productive with your work. It's the same thing with your spiritual health. If you feel like the work that you're doing is against what's important to your life, you're not going to be able to succeed. The first real business I started was in the event planning company. I was essentially hosting parties for college kids. I was in college when I was doing it, along with other things, doing concerts and shows. But I wasn't into partying. I wasn't into drinking. It was a hustle. It was a way for me to make money. And we were making great money doing this. But I didn't feel good doing it. I didn't feel spiritually fulfilled, which is why I ultimately just stopped the business. Even though I was making a lot of money, even though we built a great brand and a great reputation, I didn't want to be associated with that, so I just stopped. And this is where you got to start thinking a little bit bigger as well, because as you're working on your financial journey, I also want you to live a happy and fulfilled life. I've talked about this many times. My goal for you isn't just to have a big bank account and be miserable. Because, well, what's the point at that point? I want you to have the big bank account and be happy and fulfilled at the same time. That way you can truly live a happy and fulfilled life. Because yes, money is important, but it's not the only thing. You got to live a happy and fulfilled life, which means you got to be physically fit, mentally fit, spiritually fit, and of course, financially fit as well. If you got some value out of this video, my only ask from you is number 1, can you hit that thumbs up button? Number 2 is subscribe to this channel. And number 3, share this video with a fellow investor. I've spent more than a decade working to build my cash flow portfolio where my stocks pay me every quarter and my real estate pays me every month. Passive income is when you take your active income. This is the money you're making from your job or your business. You have some extra active income laying around, and then you're going to convert this dead active income that's doing nothing in your bank account to passive income, or we can call it cash flow.